then it shows questions answered by each student and progress, all of these different things. They're really pretty visual, which is great. If you want to go ahead and scroll up and click on, let's click on students. So the students quick view gives you some different information, like what have they had the most practice on by category. If you scroll down, you can see each student that you have, and you can look at what they've been working on, how many questions they've accomplished, what they practiced recently, or how recently they practiced. I always like looking at the time, how much time have they been on there. In addition, you can sort by time. So if you're sorting by time and you're looking for that, those kiddos very quickly that haven't spent a lot of time, that's helpful as well. Another tab that you can look at the top is skills. Oh, sorry, am I going too fast?
Yeah, I just want to jump in. So if you notice, I did sort by time here, and here Charles has been on for 15 hours. If I scroll down and look at these, notice that some of them have the star here. You can tell here that those are the ones that you suggested. So if I look at Charles, he has practiced 4 of them, or obviously 23, but the ones with the stars are the ones that were assigned to him. So I just wanted to point that out. So if you're assigning certain ones, it will show up on this student quick view. So you can do week of, as well as if you're looking for a specific student, you can go up here and say you just want to look at Lucy. I'm going to click on Lucy, and it will only bring up her things for her student details. So here you can go, it goes in a little bit more. She's answered 401 questions. She's made progress in 12 skills. And down here is where you can look a little bit more into what she's done, how many questions she's done as well. So you can even see by date. So again, if you are assigning skills, then you could even look to see when they've actually jumped on. Go ahead, Andrea.
Oh, perfect. No, you're good. If you want to go ahead and click on the tab that says skills, this is just another way to look at that information in a different format. So you can see what skill, how many students practiced it, how much time they have spent on it. You can search for a particular skill that a student has. Nancy, let's go ahead and look at scores. So here is where you will see like your typical, what I would call a grade book. So the score for the roster. I will tell you, most math and language arts teachers set a level that each student needs to achieve. And then they don't have to get that perfect 100, but they might set it. You have to at least get an 85 to get full credit. So talk to those people on your team, see what their expectations are, and try and keep things consistent in that regard. I will say that I think teachers have commented that sometimes going through these scores can be time consuming. That being said, a lot of times they'll just have students tell them what their score was or submit the score via Canvas, and then they'll go back and do spot checking. It depends how much control you want to have. So some teachers will go through each score and put a grade in for that, or they have students email them or submit a score into Canvas or a Google form, and then they'll spot check from there to see how students did. But this is really kind of that true gradebook report.
Yes, Sully.
And to add on what Andrea's saying, I've seen a lot of math teachers too do reflections with students submitting their score to ask what skills were hard or what skills were easy, just to do a reflection as well to make it a little bit more meaningful.
Real quick, I wanted to point out too is that it's a little just, I don't know, it's a little touchy in here. So if you notice, you can do by certain students. Here I have all students. So if you notice, understanding integers looks like she has assigned this to most of them. If you just see, it's really, it's hard to get in there sometimes. But if you look at, sorry, it's pulling up. If you are over here, your cursor's over here, you can scroll to the left or the right to see more of your students. So just know if you have all of your students brought up, you just have to sort of scroll lightly and you can see their scores on that. But this is just another way to see those scores. You can look at their scores differently as well.
So Nancy, up at the top, can you hover over scores again, and you'll see that there's a drop down. So if you want to go down to skills score chart, and you can see in the left, right under where it says the word skills score chart, there is a drop down. So you can actually look at the scores for maybe a specific skill you assigned. So it goes by content and then by grade, category, skill. And then if you scroll, sorry, I don't know what, it's hard to do if we don't know. And then you can see your students and what their score was, how much time they spent, and that is for a specific skill.
You can also do student score chart. So here, math, and say you want to look at something. So there's just different ways to see the scores, but this is a certain student. Say I want to go to Blake. It looks like I may not be in the right level for him. I don't know the levels for math. But you can go in and search this way as well for a specific student if you want to see how they're overall doing on different ones. So there's just different ways that you can look at scores. Do you want to show them the live?
I want you to show them.
Yeah, well, you know what I meant.
Nancy, there are a couple questions on here, so we can come back to those, though, after the live if you'd like.
Okay, so live is really just, I mean, this would work really well if you're actually in the classroom and you have everybody and you want everybody to jump on IXL to practice before a quiz or a test or whatever. Here you can actually see who's online right now, and then who's idled and who may need help. If they keep missing questions, then they would pop up here. So it looks like actually there are 2 online right now. So they're actually on IXL right now at home, and 2, it looks like both of them are idled right now. And then 0 of them need help, 2 skills in practice, and then how many have been practiced in the past hour. So here is just something if you wanted to go in, say you said, say you did a webinar and you want to practice or whatever. I don't know. This may not be as helpful at home right now. But this is just another thing that IXL offers, that if people are online right now, you can see who's online, who's answering questions, and who may need help.
Yeah, their names actually pop up in red if they're like all on there, and it marks them as students who may need help. So like, let's say you have 30 kids in a class, that their name will pop up in red, and it will show you at the top. It's very evident what kids are like taking on this assignment, and you could check in with them. If you can think of a great virtual way to do that, where, but I think that's going to be hard to get all kids on there at the same time. But it's a nice resource when you're there in person.
All right. Do we want to answer some of these questions?
Sure. We had one from Allie, and she said, on the score sheet, will they look the same in our science IXLs? I would assume so.
Yeah,
Right.
I would think so.
We don't have any students that have done them yet, so it's hard to look at them from that perspective.
Yeah, since we haven't done this really with science, I'm not sure what it will look like. Shut up!
So I would assume. Nancy, we had another question from, I lost it now, from Josh. And he said, what do we do if we can't find a student to assign to our IXL roster?
Hush! Shut up! Dude.
Josh, I would assume I would just email Nancy and let her know that, because, and then she can troubleshoot on an individual basis. I'm not quite sure how else. I know tech is pretty swamped right now. She might send you that direction,
Stop.
but I would say send her an email to solve one-on-one problems.
I think I can add the student. I just need to know what their student ID is. Yeah, just Josh, email me, and I think I can add. I think I added a student for a counselor at Northview yesterday. So just email me, and I will set that student up. But I may need some more information from you, like their student ID, their grade, and then it gives like a username and password that I can forward to you.
Are there any other questions?
Sully, my dogs are driving me insane.
Every time a dog walks by my house, my child and my dogs are insane. It's a little nuts. And everybody's out walking, which is wonderful, but crazy. Are there any other questions? Let's see, I have a question down here. Okay, so Tammy said, if we find a way to connect virtually to those who need help based on the live classroom view, would we be able to see the question they are on in IXL from our home iPad? I don't know if it shows you the question they're on. I think it just shows you their score, and that their like score is not going well. And so they would kind of have to share with you, because the questions are not always in the same order. I think they shuffle, if I remember, but it also like builds. There's a lot of questions in there typically when I'm looking at math stuff. So they would have to tell you what the question is. I don't think you can actually see which one they're on.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
If you notice, like right now, I'm back in or the screen. Now it looks like 3 students. One is actually going through it right now. So I'm wondering if it'll pop up like she may need help, but she's answered 1 question so far. But at least you can see which area she's or which IXL lesson she's on. So I'm not sure if it'll pop up what actual question they're on.
One thing that I wanted to add, and I want to hear your feedback on this, Andrea and Nancy, but I've seen it when I'm in the math classroom that it's kind of adaptive. The questions are a little bit easier in the beginning, and then as students get them correct, they get harder and harder. Have you guys noticed that as well?
Yeah, I would say that they build. It's typically like a type of question for like 3 or 4 questions, and then they might phrase it a different way, or it's more of a word problem and stuff, so it kind of builds that way. So as opposed to question being adaptive, I think it's more group of question to next group of question, and moving up from there.
So typically students have success with it because, like Andrea's saying, it's the same kind of question for 3 or 4 times in a row until they get it right is kind of what I've seen. So at least in math, where it's more of a skill than content.
So if you notice back on the screen that this student has answered 3 questions so far, 2 of them she's got correct, or they've gotten correct, and 1 of them they've gotten wrong. So even by here, like the green and the red, you can see how they're doing so far. But again, I don't know what question she got, unless I wonder if I click on 3 questions. So this is for that student. Oh, here you go. So you can see exactly which one she got wrong. So you can see the 2 that she answered correct and the 1 that she got wrong. So Tammy, that right there could give you some more information too. So just clicking on the number of questions that they're on right here, and it'll highlight in blue, and then you can see their question log and which one they got wrong or correct. And that way, if you wanted to reach out to that student specifically and say, hey, I noticed you got this wrong, let's work through this together or whatever. Do you understand?
Did you just click on her name to get there?
No, I actually just clicked on right here, like where it says 4 questions answered. So now you notice like she got 2 right, and now so far she's gotten 2 wrong. She may pop up in the students may need help soon if she keeps getting it wrong. But if I just hover over my cursor over 4 questions answered, I can click on that, and now it will show me the past 2 questions that she got incorrect. And now I can see, okay, this is the last question that the student had that she did not get correct, or he did not get correct. Okay, so that's good to know. I didn't know that myself.
Me neither. Learned something new.
All right, if there aren't any other questions, I just want to go over that I've recorded both of these sessions sort of separately. So one is sort of how to set up IXL, and the other one is reports that we just went over. And I will upload those to YouTube. I'm trying to gather all the YouTube or all the videos that we're doing and add it to the just my YouTube video channel, so that way it's all there. Coaches can definitely help you, so please feel free to reach out to even your MYP coordinators, all the coaches. Everybody is in this together, and we can definitely help you. But if you need any students added, please email me. If you need an account, add me. But just know, I just want to say this again, that this isn't for lesson replacement. This is just, for that purposeful planning and help with just beefing up some things that you may have, or practicing for a certain test or quiz like Sully asked. Okay. Thank you so much. If you have specific questions for us, or you have anything, you can feel free to stay on and we'll answer questions. At 11:30, we're going to go live again, and Madeline Mason is going to go over Google Hangout. I'm going to talk about Screencastify, how to record your screen if you want to make a tutorial for students. There's Screencastify. We're also going to talk about Canvas, how you can use Canvas to go live with your students, Zoom, Google Hangout, and Screencastify. So those 4 things we're going to go over at 11:30. And then at noon, if you want to jump in and you have any questions about anything, we have that huge spreadsheet with all the resources. I'd like to show how you can push something out to your kids or to other teachers if you want to force copy. That means when you're sharing resources, instead of sharing it and they go in and they actually edit yours, you can actually go in, you can create a link where if they click on it, it pops up where it says, do you want to make a copy? And it automatically makes a copy into their Google Drive, so they can't mess with your original document. So I can go over that. There's a lot of IDOE resources. And then again, I can go over Screencastify if you want to create a tutorial for kids. So looking forward to see you guys there. Thank you so much for joining.